Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the prompt butterflies, bugs, from the Roxy Creations Field Notes project. Now I've already completed the one page in my Living by the Seaside journal, and I'm yet to finish the one that is more Edith Holden inspired. I'm just going to grab that other journal. Just bear with me. I've literally walked into my room. I had a pile of bits and bobs here that I had sort of put to one side to film this episode. A week has gone by. I've been busy actually working on my Just Because quilt. I just can't put it down. And I've started filming the episodes on block number 2 into October. I'm going to have a very busy October, so I've got to get a wriggle on and get some videos made to the best of my abilities, and so that I can relax and enjoy the retreats that I'm hosting for the 3 weeks right in the middle of October. So the Just Because quilt is just absorbing me. It's going to be hard not to just go on to block 3. But in the meantime, I have finished my page in my Seaside journal, and I just love it. Really happy with it. The colours, they just make me feel, happy. Really, really love it. I ended up stitching a little, I was going to say dragonfly, lady beetle here. My 2 dragonflies have found a home, and I've got my dimensional butterflies here where it's just a little bit of stitching, a couple little feelers, and I ended up stamping a couple pieces here from the Tim Holtz stamp that I bought earlier in the month, and just stitching that on. So it's a bit of an identification check. We've got numerous bugs here, and I felt like they were catalogued. Oh, I stitched the bees too. The bees were actually on the napkin. So for those of you who ask, is it easy to stitch through the napkin once you've attached it to fabric? Definitely. Those little bees were there, and there was one that just made the napkin down here. So yeah, really happy with it. These pieces of embroidery that were from a mass-produced tablecloth, that was a piece from a pack that Susanna sold a couple of weeks ago. So I just recut it down, and like, for example, that green leaf, if you recall, was hanging out the bottom. So I left it there, stitched it all down. Then I thought, well, I'm going to put a tag there, trimmed off the tip of that green leaf, and that tip I stitched in here. So they're very easy to manipulate. I believe there was another green leaf there, and it ended up over here. I'd have to watch the video again. So you can certainly separate things and then drag things to other locations to sort of get your layers. The one of the little leaves ended up over here. That helps connect the pages. And then this one had all these little flowers. That was also from one of those mass-produced, machine embroidered. There's a slight shininess to the fabric, like they've used rayon or something like that to give that shimmery look. Once they were all secure and down, I went back in and added some extra stitches. So those yellow stitches in the center of the flower, and there, a little bit of purple there. And the leaves were quite rounded and open with a center line. And I just went through and put those little V stitches in there. And it just sort of, I don't know, thickened up the look of it all. So the piece is completed. Happy with that. Then when I went to attach it to my book, I had a bit of space here where I've created quite a decent spine by using a Reader's Digest book. So I could stitch more pages in if I wanted to, but at this stage I think it's coming together nicely. It's allowing me to be quite chunky with my work. I'm not feeling like I'm going to have the spine too small for my pieces. So to disguise that there is quite a large spine there, I put in some of the little flower colour you know, these things on selvages where the manufacturer tests the colours. I had been saving some of those. I'm not sure what they've come from. They might be from a piece in the other journal, but they're sort of sitting around with this whole project, and I thought they are perfect. There's 2 different ones there. I just interconnected them, and it just creates a bit of a connection between all the pieces. I thought it worked really well. So pretty much this section, that is one Reader's Digest book there. And then the cover of a second one comes in and it starts the concertina off again in another direction. So that's how my journal is sitting together for those of you just tuning in. And then I've just stitched one piece of calico to create the pages in the spine of each book. And you can see the stitched piece in there. So technically we have finished one. So really, really happy with it. I am doing double page spreads. It seems that, I don't know, I think I like the space to work, especially if it's a prompt that I really want to celebrate. This one here wasn't a double page spread, but because this happened, I've sort of, whenever I'm in 2 pages, even if it's 1 or 2, I try and keeping it into a similar style and colour palette. Seems to be how it's going. So I'm pretty much ready now to take the bull clip off. And I only did that just because everything was flip-flopping around. I'm pretty much ready now to go into the next section. And away we go again with the next prompt that is coming this week. So for you, it is Monday. For me, it is Sunday. So I've got to catch up by getting this second little journal done. But this one is tick, finish. And now we're into the Edith Holden page. And when I was planning that one, I had a few things sitting in a pile here that I thought that I might want to use. Some more of those little butterflies. This I found, I'm creating some additional packs and goodies for the girls that are coming to the retreats. And I've cut up a big piece of fabric that had all of this advertising artwork, and it's part of some packs. And these are the little bits left. And some of them are missing the top. You know, when you buy a piece of fabric and they cut it at the store, sometimes you don't get a straight cut. So I've got those kicking around. I thought they might be good. This panel is where it all started. And I've got myself a butterfly, a dragonfly, and a few bits and pieces. This here is lying on the table, so I'm not sure if that will come to fruition. Okay, let's have a little look into our book. Oh my goodness, I tell you, the time is flying, isn't it? So this is the next page. And as you can see with the concertina, we'll carry on around the back. I do have this, which I stitched in week 1. It hasn't found a home. It has a dragonfly. It sort of matches my colours, but I don't know. I keep pushing it back further in the journal. I feel like it's not yet ready to settle. Oh, I don't know, maybe. Let's put those little guys over there for now. So I had visions of working this, but when I walked away, having these lines here sort of made it feel like it was very contained, where I sort of wanted a little bit more collaged. And I'm wondering if I do go back to this idea and build on from here. So we've got water. We've got these water lilies. Do we create something through here that is the embankment? And because this is an Edith Holden book, to get an Edith Holden page here and there, I think would be you know, really good to cement the whole process. Having said that, should it go somewhere else, you know, I'm just not sure. What I might do, let's assume we use it. Let's create a page here using bits and pieces. And as we go, if it's looking, so I've got a page here stitched too. If it's looking like it works, this one was a page I stitched for some reason for the journal. I just haven't used it. No, it's a bit of a stretch. No, you're going back deeper into the journal. We don't need you. We'll keep. I've got some pre-cut pages ready, so just bear with me as I do a little tidy up. As I tidy, I'm thinking. Okay, see, this is a back. You know what? Maybe that goes there. No, it's paper, and if it's on the back of the journal as we turn the corner, it might get beaten around and damaged. So I think it has to be internally, and then it's protected. What I'm going to do, it's just too good for bugs. It really is. So what I think I'll do is we're going to leave it sit there. I'm going to have a play first with collaging something. There's Bandit. He's heard something. I'm going to collage something with this as my inspiration and see if I can connect it through. Now in here, we certainly have a section that has tones that match. And I don't mind Little Bird. I'm really liking those oranges. This green matches with that green. I think I need to get rid of that. What are they woofing at? Okay, we're going to try. So my original plan was to work this piece. That was a week ago. Now we're going to work just this piece. So let's do it. Let's have a go. Now this has a little edge of calico that's peeking through. So to keep it looking similar, I'm going to do the same. So I'm just going to pull it in a little bit so I get that look on both pages. So it will feel like it's a bit of a set. I'm going to trim through here. And I'm going to cut that off. Let me just grab my Frisker scissors. Let's put that away. That's a piece for another day. Let's get rid of this top. And do we want to fussy cut in here a little bit? Let's just get rid of this top piece. No, I did have the right scissors. Let's get rid of this for a moment. Okay, so this panel of fabric, I had checked, it doesn't have a name on it, but I bought it from Gail's Patchwork in Ballarat. So if it catches your eye, just give the girls a call and tell them you saw a panel with strips of flowers and little birds on it that Corrine had, and when she was there in March with Susanna's retreat, it was sitting on the veranda. They'll have a look at the video anyway. I was actually talking to them I've booked a visit to their store for the Ballarat retreat girls. They were mentioning that whenever something pops up on my videos that may have come from them, they get phone calls from you all. So they were like giggling away, because then they got to try and work out what it is. And they'll have to do that again with this. You know what? I'm going to raise that up. Then I don't have to fussy cut that edge out. So it gets, yes. So then it doesn't have to have a different top. So now it's looking more like it's similar. And that gives me room down here to bring this through. Yeah. So dragonfly. Let's get you in there. So these dragonflies I did months and months ago when I was in between projects, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to experiment with a heap of little dragonflies. One day they'll find a home on a piece, and I believe I've used 3. I used one on a vessel. I did them all in different colours, and they're just sitting in a container waiting to land on a project. So if you're in between projects or you're going away somewhere, just put a piece of calico or muslin into a hoop. Take with you a selection of colours, of threads, some little beads, and stitch yourself some little dragonflies, because you just never know when you'll use them. And it's like having little decorative elements at your fingertips. I just don't want to cut all those threads. I did a rough fussy cut out of them at the time to get them out of the calico, but now I just want a little less calico around them. So these flowers I'll stitch into, do a little bit of thread painting. I might turn him over. Very nervous. Be ashamed to give him a nip and we don't. Where did that come from? So a lot of these threads people have asked me, and these ones are from Steph Francis. Now I bought them right at the beginning of my slow stitching, which was probably 2 years ago now, and they are combinations of different textured threads bound together in a skein. So they're lovely. They're really, really interesting to stitch with. And that little guy's tail is one of them. They're very difficult to get into a needle, so often I use them just as a straight line and then couch over them. So you get the gorgeous threads, but you don't have to deal with the dragging it through a needle. I'm just having a little think here. I don't know if I have much of that lace left. I might have to go digging for that. That I have. That one there is going to be interesting. That should work in okay. These butterflies. I might bring this little guy out. Just fussy cut. I won't go crazy with the butterflies. I don't want to overpower the piece. I don't think I'll be using that, and I don't think I'll be using that. I think I've got enough elements here, especially once I go looking for some lace to build up the bottom. That lace there is going to be the challenge. That came from a table runner. That's from a blouse, and I'm sure I've seen that around. It might be a case of, if I can't get my hands on these, I might be able to find something similar and then put a little bit of it over here so it looks like it's all part of it. But that'll be part of my homework, I guess, to try and find it. Unless I pause this video, go hunting. We might do that. Now, to give this little butterfly's edges a little bit of support, I'm going to get my art glitter glue. Okay, I took my art glitter glue with me to a workshop that I did. So like I said, it's Sunday for me. Yesterday, that's why my voice is a little bit croaky. Been doing a lot of talking. Yesterday, I did a workshop at a retreat that's hosted by the lovely Julie in Hervey Bay. And twice a year they get together and everyone can do what they want at the retreat in the way of craft. So it's a crafting retreat. They stay on site at these campgrounds that you can hire. A lot of schools use a campground, so they've got like little bungalows. So all the girls bunk in for 3 days. They get there on a Friday afternoon and settle in, set up Saturday, Sunday, and they finish late Sunday. So I was invited along as a guest to run a workshop for anyone who was interested in sitting and stitching. And we had a ball. We stitched the little bird that, where is it? You know, the one that's, I'll grab it because some of you might not know what I'm talking about. It's the little blue bird that I did onto a pouch using a classic quilt pattern, that one. So they all created the bird, and then the second part of the workshop is they started couching down the tree, and then there was all sorts of morsels there that they could pick from to create, you know, foliage for their tree and beads, and oh, it was so cool. And it was really fun because they'd go to the huge bucket of scrap fabrics that Julie had sort of put together for everyone to dip into. And they would often, well, they all picked similar colours to what they were actually wearing. So it's quite interesting. So all the little birds more or less looked like the colour scheme that they were actually wearing. So we had a big giggle about that. And then the star of the workshop, the lovely Vicky, was there. Now, Vicky is the new owner of the Howard Drapery, and her daughter came along, Matilda. Hi, Matilda. Matilda was 13, and Matilda participated and did the most beautiful bird. And then she did the tree, and she did the bits and pieces that you would see on a tree. Like, she was flying. And she sat and stitched and stitched and stitched. As the workshop went on, once everyone had sort of created the bird, they were free to sort of wander back to their quilts or whatever they were stitching. And but not Matilda. She sat there and she kept working that little bird, and she pretty much got it done. Oh, it was so good. Isn't it lovely to see young people playing in our world? Now, I'm just going to do some little invisible stitches here, and that'll hold everything down. So the old tacking stitch, which has been formally renamed invisible stitch, purely because the stitch you see on the top of your work is tiny, but you've got that classic big tacking stitch underneath. And the good thing about this little stitch is it gives it a little quilted look. Before you even start your work, you've got this little dimple. You can be formal and go across the whole thing, or you can jump around and treat it more like a tacking stitch. So yeah, it was a lovely evening. The girls were so sweet. We had a really good giggle. And quite a few had not really heard the term slow stitch. So it was really fun to show them, you know, our world, because they are formal quilters, sewing machine quilters. So to do that little bird, which a couple had done as a block in a quilt in a slow stitching, hand stitching way, yeah, a few of them found it quite liberating, which is what I often hear in the comments for those of you who are formal quilters and have been doing it for some time, that this hand stitching business is a refreshing change. There was one gorgeous lady there that is considering actually coming to my Hervey Bay retreat at the end of October, and it was like fire bugs going off as she was like getting her head around the whole process of, you know, slow stitching. And she has done many crafts as well, so all the skills are sitting there. They're just ready to collide together into a single piece, is probably the best way to describe it to someone new. Especially when you say, have you done embroidery before? Fancy work? Yes. Do you crochet? A little bit. Do you collect fabrics? Yes. Do you enjoy picking up a bit of paint occasionally or some pens? Yes. Like, it's surprising how many skills we already have. So for those of you listening out there that are just watching and haven't had a try yet, just do it. Jump in. You're wasting time. Get into it. Pick up a needle and thread. Oh, it's so good to sit with Matilda and watch a young person just create. Vicky, you have an amazing daughter. She's going to be a huge asset to your business in the future, considering Mum owns a fabric drapery store and one of the historical ones in our region. So yeah, it was lovely to see. It was also good to get out and sit with other ladies who do so much stitching at home by myself. To sit and stitch with others, can't wait for the retreats. I just can't wait to just sit back and relax. Oh, come on. I think this piece is going to be simple too. Like, that's, you know, that's minimal investment of stitch and fabric, and I think I need to keep that in mind with this one. Definitely thread painting. I won't stop the video and go find the lace. I'll do that off camera and come back with another video, probably Wednesday. And that'll give me time to work this area, find those morsels, and then I can pop back, show you what I got up to, add in the bottom layer of whatever. And then we'll be ready for the next prompt, won't we? Okay, that's pretty good. That's nice and secure. I might do one more row because I can't. I'm going to pop that out of the way. I'm leaning on it and I don't want to bend that paper. That butterfly I cut out, I think will go on the other page, you know, to drag the orange tones over there. And I might land it on maybe the flowers. So I'm just going to whiz along this bottom edge. So that's what I've been up to. I'm still doing trips to Brisbane for tests for my father. So a lot of driving. Got 2 big trips this week. We're getting close to finding out all the answers we need to know, therefore we can plan the next stage of treatment. Gosh, it just takes time, doesn't it? A week between things, suddenly a month is gone and oh my goodness. But we're getting there. We're getting there. 2 big tests on Monday. So yeah, you'll be watching this Monday and I'll be back on the road. And then I believe we'll be back again on the Friday because all the results will be back with the doctors. So they haven't sent me an appointment yet, but I'm guessing. They sort of hinted that we'd touch base again on Friday. At least there's a few days between all the driving. It's a 10-hour round trip for me. By the time I pick Dad up at the farm and then head back to the highway and keep heading south to Brisbane where all our big hospitals are. We're getting there. Okay. Everything is now secure. It's got a similar aesthetic to the previous page by coming in that edge. I like that green line, matches the water line of my piece. So I think it will work. Now, let's find a home for little dragonfly and the butterfly. I sort of feel like he could come up here. That's very plain. So I think he should pop up here. I do want to stitch that flower, so maybe I'll come down here. So then I can stitch the flower. So where am I going to put the butterfly then? Yeah, I think the butterfly can come in over here. I'm going to put him there. Okay, I'm going to leave dragonfly off. He is going to come in at the bottom because I think I want to stitch that and then I'll want to stitch that. So definitely dragonfly can go on at a later date. He'll only get knocked around. This little fellow, he can go on now. So I'm just going to rethread. I'd love a black cotton, to be honest. Wonder if it's sitting out on the bench. Hang on one moment, guys. Yeah, it is. I wore a lace blouse, a black lace blouse, to the retreat, the workshop, and when I put it on, there's like sections of fabric, and then the lace is stitched onto those bits and drapes down from there. And because you sit in a chair and you lean and you pull, I was looking at myself in the mirror going, why is there a big hole there? And the fabric and the lace had come away. And it'd be just leaning and moving and driving and, you know, it's just not a real strong part of the construction of the piece. So before I went, I had to stitch the whole back together, hence the black cotton is out. And then as I put it all away, I just happened to catch myself in the mirror and I saw another hole. I'm like, oh, there we go, over there to fix that bit. And then there was another one. They're only small, but yeah, I'm glad I noticed it. So I'm just going to run a little invisible stitch down the centre of this little guy, and I'm coming through the paper and stitching him straight on. And because I put the glue on the edge just before, I'm going to let those wings move a little. They won't fray because I've got that little bit of glue. That will hold the little guide down. What I will do now is put his little feelers in. So I'm going to do a pistol stitch. That knot disappeared under that lace, but that's okay. Doesn't need to be technically a knot. I've seen it's disappeared. Let's just not do it again. There we go. Little feelers. Now, to knock this off, I'm just going to slither there to catch a thread. Like this page will be attached to my journal page, so there's no need to be too worried about the knot coming out. But there's a little knot. Okay. One little butterfly has now been added, so happy with that. And this page, now that it's all attached, I can choose my threads. So let's get my needle back. I don't think we want any more butterflies, so we can get rid of that. We won't be using this fabric either, but we will attach this little guy. And I'm thinking I will find a spot for this too, because that's sort of the style of the book. We've got these little samplers. Maybe I can work that into this image and he's coming up onto it. Yeah, I like that. So it's sort of part of the design. All right, those two elements are still staying. Don't think I need this. We'll save that for another journal another day, a journal page. Let me just grab my journal. That can go there. Those morsels are safe. I might as well pop that in there. You never know where the piece will go. Okay, actually, just bear with me. Let's put that there, that there. Ooh. Blessed by nature. There's an opportunity. There is a definite opportunity to stitch that there. Maybe that's the name of the fabric. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. That's why I couldn't find the name on the fabric. Maybe. Just can't remember. All right, guys, let's pick some threads. Let's get into it. We're going to need a grey-ishy, earthy, beigey tone. Yeah. Or is it more of that? It's more that. I might keep that because that might just give it a little bit of a difference in, you know, tone and texture. Let me grab a little tray. Grab a little bowl. I need my thimble too. My goodness, I've been doing so much stitching. My poor little fingers. Tell you, it's that quilt. Okay, we've got our, oops, sorry guys, just bumped us. Let's have a look at the oranges and reds and glorious colours. Okay, we need a yellow. Yep. We need a bit of an orange. Oh, it's very bright, but I'm gonna go with it. I might grab that apricot-y tone as well. That now gets rejected. That's the same. Sort of feel like that's a better colour. keep going back to that orange. Look, I'll keep it in there. They're contrasty, not matchy, a bit clashy. Might just work. Here's another orangey tone. Yeah, chuck them all in. Chuck them in. Don't overthink it. A green. Something that could highlight stitch in. Yeah, that'll do. What about that tone? So we need to go more into the pink container. Those there would be great with beads. Here's a little bit of scrap orange, yellow that was kicking around. Let's throw that in. That there. It's like a burnt burgundy-ish tone. Plummy burgundy. Don't want to drag it down. Everything's so bright and happy. Nearly a rusty colour. Don't have a rust. What's that one? It's very similar to that, if not the same. That's a bit rustier. That's better. Maybe some orange coming into that. Okay. That's pretty good. That's enough. I'll just take one more glance into the silk threads because there might be something. Oh, that's those Steph Francis threads. So all of those were together on a skein and I've broken them down. Oh, look at that. I wonder. No, like it would work, but it doesn't work with the rest of the flowers. So here's some tones that might get me out of trouble. That little guy is perfect. Yeah. Even that little guy, we'll chuck him in. That's enough, Corrine, for goodness sakes. Look at that one over there. Look at that, look at that. Chuck that in too. There we go. So looking at my little tray and looking at my piece, I think I've got it. I think I've got it. All right, we need a good needle. We need a thimble. Oh, my finger. It's all well and good doing these quilts, but boy, oh boy. Let's have a look at this flower here, and I'm thinking of going straight for this variegated cotton. It's going to give me all sorts of great colours as it flips through the colour changes. I can hear Fudge snoring. I haven't thought too much about Little Bird. It's all about the flowers at this stage. Now I've got a little thing happening here and then these petals. I think I'm going to just focus on the petals and just do some nice long stitches out from the centre. And then come back into the centre with something a little darker, and then I can go even darker in there. And I've also got up my sleeve beads. But at the moment, let's just highlight these petals with some simple stitches. It was interesting yesterday talking to the girls about these terms we're all using. So invisible stitch, what is that? Thread painting, slow stitch, of course. What other ones? It's like these new terms that we were coming up with to describe what we're doing. Camphor stitch, which is not a new term, but it was a term that some of the girls hadn't heard of. There we go. That was a gross waste of thread there. I should have just jumped across. It's because I was yibber-yabbering. I'm going to do it a little bit more miserly the next time. I'll show you the difference. So I've just round and round I went. What I should have done to make my thread go further is jumped across at the top of each stitch or the bottom of each stitch, and then you don't waste all of that thread on the reverse side. Come on, Corrine. So come up, back down at the top of the petal, jump across and come back up, still at the top of the petal, and then back down. And then at the bottom, scoot sideways. So if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, it's just altering the way of which you enter the fabric so that you use as least thread as possible. Therefore, if you're getting down to your last precious threads, you can, you know, make it to the end. Oops, so then I just did that big stitch wrong. So you can see where I was doing it the correct way to save, and then that stitch I lost my mind for a moment and did a big stitch again. So we're going to undo that. There's actually quite a lot of white in this thread. So that's what I will be doing off camera. I will spend my Sunday afternoon stitching my little piece, getting some stitches into it, and I will fossick out some lacy morsels for the bottom of this piece, and I'll come back with probably a Wednesday video. Yeah, it'll be a Wednesday video. I've got time. I've got my Friday video already up in the system waiting for you, and that's the camphor quilt, the Just Because quilt. It's not technically a camphor quilt. It's the style of piecing bits of fabric together to create a similar look using a camphor style stitch. I'll just finish this little guy. So what I'll do next is I will come back through with another thread and work the same thing again, but drop down into the petal center a little bit more and not go all the way to the tip of the flower. It's going to completely change the look of this little guy, but that's all right. It's a bit of a Fleur Woods interpretation of a flower. You can follow the flower directly below. There's nothing stopping you doing that, but I'm going to freeform a little bit. Completely different back when you save some threads. Or you double, not quite double, but you're close to using, you know, little Fudgy snoring. Bless his little cotton socks. Oh, I had to tell you too, we had a snake in the backyard. Oh my goodness, I tell you. I went out to feed Pepper and Bandit in the morning. They were as happy as Larry, bouncing around like the crazy hounds that they are first thing in the morning. And I settled down on the couch to drink my coffee, and Pepper was just focused on something on the grass, and I thought, oh, what's she got now? You know, a pot plant or... And I thought I'll just go out and check because I thought I could see something, and curled up in the lawn, not moving, I thought dead, looked dead, was a snake, probably about 2 foot in length. The body of the snake was as thick as my thumb, so it was quite a short snake for the thickness, which, you know, a fat snake for the thickness. Yeah, and she's pawing at it and jumping around like a goose, like it's just a rubber hose. Oh, I tell you, my heart hit the ground. So I went and got some tongs and I picked him up and put him behind the gate. Our yard can now be separated with a little gate. So the dog's on one side and the snake's on the path, and I just popped him on the path, and Gaz was still in bed asleep, and I thought, I'll leave him there and show Gaz when he gets out. And as I shut the gate, I just happened to glance back to it, and the tip of his tail just moved slightly, and I'm thinking, oh goodness, that blooming thing's still alive. So I thought, well, if I leave it there an hour or so while I wait for Gaz to get out of bed, maybe he's foxing and he's going to slither off, and then oh gosh. So anyway, I went back, got the tongs, picked him back up, and walked out to the bush out the back of the block and just laid him out there. And I thought, well, if you're actually passed away and that's just a little nerve in your tail twitching, which is most likely, he really did look like he had deceased. He looked like Pepper and Bandit had played with him all night, the poor fellow. I thought, well, a kookaburra will see him and have some breakfast. So I don't know. I haven't gone back to see if he's still there. I don't want to know. He didn't look good. He looked deceased. But Pepper and Bandit, they looked all right. I thought, oh my goodness, so anyone having a seizure out here, and they're bouncing around like a pair of idiots. Just makes your heart stop, doesn't it? I'm wasting thread because I'm yapping to you guys. Oh, I tell you what, be better once I concentrate a little. So you can see I'm now changed my colour. I'm creeping down into the centre a little bit, not going as high. And I'll do that all the way around again. Then I might change to maybe that, do it again, maybe some yellow. So I'm just going to layer into this little flower stitches and work my way around. I'm not sure what I'll do for the other ones. Who knows? So at least you get a bit of an idea of where I'm heading with this little guy. Might do a little bit of weaving. I don't mind weaving, and this little flower would be good. Where those dark patches are, weave that with that thread and then leave the rest. So you get a real artistic sort of feel. I think that flower is making me think that way. These ones here, I think I'd probably just do long and short stitch, but a little bit tighter, really stitch that in. Well, the trick too is not to pull your threads too tight, otherwise you get, you know, puckering. Don't be really heavy-handed with your work, and you'll be wondering why it looks all puckered. I might even find some yellow orangey beads, something, and maybe do 3 or 4 beads on a cotton thread, you know, like stack them and then bring that out to a similar sort of style. Possibilities are endless. Then I've got that little green centre there, so even that could be French knots, beads, something a little bit dimensional. Might even go find the wool. There might be a yellow in my wool. Who knows, guys? What an adventure. All right, well, it must be close to the hour. Feels like it. I can always feel it in my neck. I start getting a little bit tight in the back of the neck. It's like, oh, I must have been sitting here an hour. So that'll work up beautifully. And that little guy, all right, I might even throw that in. It's rolling around on my desk. You never know. All right. Okay. Pop my needle in. So I've got all my tools. Little pair of snippy scissors. There we go. All right, well, I'm going to toddle off. Thanks for hanging with me. I hope you all have a great day. If it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whenever you're getting a chance to sit and watch, have a lovely day. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, guys.